So, welcome everyone. I'm Dawn Carter, and I'm going to go ahead and flip this over and see if I can stabilize this a little bit without turning it off. Sometimes I turn it off, so I did it. I can't believe it. Hey, welcome. Welcome for hopping on. My name is Dawn Carter. This is me, Decart. Welcome to my daily Twitter scope where Chris McManny, welcome. I'm so glad you hopped on. This is my new adventure, and can you believe it? I even started it before the new year started. Klein Walter Inc. Thanks for joining. Hey, it's so good to see you, Chris. I am basically going to be doing a daily 5 minute or maybe 5, 6 minute little Twitter scope every single day, giving Twitter tips. I am Dawn Carter, and I think I already shared that, but this is me, Decart. I'm Decart on the socials. I'm Decart on Periscope, Blab, Twitter, you name it. Oh, thank you. So awesome. One of the things that I have discovered over the last couple months, a lot of people say, you know what? I just don't get Twitter. I just don't get it. I signed up for it a couple years ago, never quite really used it. It just sits there like an albatross around one's neck. Welcome, Heartman30. Go ahead and swipe to the right to share, or on an iPhone, and swipe to the left if you want to. Yeah, do you get that from a lot of people too, Chris? I hear that all the time. Well, I've been on Twitter since about 2009. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. And I've live tweeted events, and I've used Twitter professionally to connect and build my network. And so I've done informal Twitter training with a lot of friends and folks who I believe I really want to help them get their messages out. Hey, Built for Last Forever, thanks for joining. So basically what I've just launched is called Twitterscope, hashtag Twitterscope. What I would love to do is answer your questions using Periscope. Thanks for joining, Raymond. What I would love to do is, if you have Twitter questions that are specific, just tweet them out on Twitter, and I'll go over all what that means and how to do that. But if you put in Twitter a question that says hashtag Twitterscope, I will jump in. Hi, Raymond. Nice to meet you. I am broadcasting from, well, I was going to say sunny Southern California. Not so sunny today. It's been very, very, very windy. But I want to just dive right in with today's tip. If you would like to follow along on the last tips, if you've missed any, you can go ahead and check. Can you see that okay? Go ahead and take a screenshot of that, and you can check out Twitterscope. And that is where I collect all of the questions that you send out with your hashtags, so you can meet each other on there as well. I actually work for the company Twubs. I'm the director of marketing there, and I figure I might as well use this stuff, right? And it is fabulous. So if you go to this address, all of my old scopes, there's a link there to catch, which is katch.me. All of my old scopes and all the old Twitter tips are there. So you can just jump on in there and check those. So one of the things I wanted to do, since I'll be doing these daily, is kind of organize it so that it's a little clearer for people that want to hop in on the weekends. Happens to be Saturday night on the Christmas holiday weekends here. On the weekends, I will be reviewing things that have to do with Twitter etiquette. Again, one of the biggest issues that I've heard about people using Twitter is that it's almost like it's a culture of its own. Let me show you what I mean by that. Last summer, my fabulous mother-in-law, and I'm not just saying that because she's sitting on the other side of the couch, but she is fabulous. Her name's Carolyn. She took my husband and I to France. We went on a Rick Steves tour. It was the trip of a lifetime. But one of the things that I learned when I was in France, you see that's a little Le Tour Eiffel. It is bad etiquette to swear at people on Twitter. It's actually bad etiquette to swear at people, not on Twitter, just in real life. So don't do that. So if your mom didn't teach you that, whatever. Well, your mom could be a cusser too. But anyway, okay, so back to my story. Anyway, Nice Guy Gaming. When we were in France, one of the things that our tour guide, Virginie, told us, she's fabulous, was part of the reason why Americans are considered rude in France is because they don't understand the culture. Here's an example. When you're in a restaurant in France, if you are a hurried American and your waiter doesn't bring you your check, you're sitting there going, wow, the service just sucks here. I can't believe how inattentive the waiters or waitresses are. Well, really what the problem is, it's a cultural misunderstanding. When you're in France, it is considered rude as the wait staff to put the check down without being asked, because what that in their culture, it says what that's communicating is like, please get up and get out of the table, abandon the table. We need it to seat someone else, where that's considered rude. So from someone from outside of that culture, not understanding that that was not intended as a slight or whatever, there's all this cultural misunderstanding. Well, welcome Sylvia 2006. Well, one of the issues with Twitter, and again, on Saturdays and Sundays, I'll be going over Twitter etiquette. It can be like a different culture. So my tip today is going to be focused on Twitter culture. Our Twitter tip today is check your notifications. Check your notifications on Twitter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually show you what that means. So I'm going to go ahead and double tap. Okay, so here is my Twitter profile. In fact, yeah, I told you I was on a little trip to France. This is in the south of France. It's a little beautiful garden. But anyway, so here is, if you're looking at Twitter on your screen, you'll have home, moments, which I can't stand. I always accidentally hit that, notifications, and messages. And what you want to do with, well, welcome Joe Ed 6001. What you want to do is check your notifications. Notifications within Twitter. Now, again, we'll go into, you should at least, if you have a Twitter account, you'll know, hey, when I want to send a tweet, I click here. But notifications, I can't tell you how many people, there's the camera. How many people did not know what notifications were? Notifications are basically anytime someone sends out a tweet and happens to mention your Twitter handle. So for instance, if someone types out something and says, hey, at decart, that's my Twitter handle on Twitter. If someone says at decart, it will notify me and let me know that, hey, someone's mentioned me. So let me go back down. It's like this hand. Okay, so here we are, right? So here's notifications. And if I was to pull up Twitter, log in, I would see, oh, I have 2 notifications. Now this could be, oh, Brophy, hey, Ed, welcome. So what you want to do when you're on Twitter, if you have never done this, this is a good time to start, is click on your notifications. And again, what that means is somebody has mentioned you by name. And look at this. Chris, who has jumped on here, says, hey, Decart's on Periscope, daily 5-minute tweets. So he basically has sent out a tweet. Hey, Ed, sent out a tweet saying, hey, I want to let my followers, so anyone who's following Chris is going to catch this, there we go, is going to catch that tweet. So just wanted to let you know that, again, your Twitter tip for today is check your notifications. The reason why that's important, remember, on the weekends, we're going to be talking about Twitter etiquette. The reason why that's important is it is proper etiquette to acknowledge that they've done that. In other words, you go, well, what do you mean by acknowledge, Don? What do I mean? So Chris mentioned, you. So what? Well, it's just nice, it's just proper. I guess it's just polite to be able to, for me now, to see that tweet and to reply back to Chris and say, hey, thank you so much. Periscope made the share to Twitter a little more tweet friendly. Yeah, that absolutely makes a big difference. So again, it's like someone has basically acknowledged and said, hey, you know what? So-and-so is on Periscope and they're sharing something cool. Or so-and-so tweeted something. I kind of like it. I'm going to send it out to my followers. That's a nice thing to do. Chris didn't have to do that. That's a kind thing to do. So I don't know if your mom's taught you, but when people do kind things for you, you just say thank you. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be fake. And for, oh my goodness, no matter, be careful. Don't automate it. Please don't automate it. Make it personal. Say, thank you. Yeah, and it absolutely, great point, Chris. It makes it much easier to kick off a conversation. So just want to throw that in. Your quick Twitter tip for today is check your notifications. I cannot tell you, well, okay, I'll throw in this little tiny story because it makes me laugh. Back in the early 2000s, before Twitter even existed, when emails were just starting to, show up as a regular part of, how people did business, I actually worked for a company that had an email address, but because email was so new, no one was ever checking the email inbox. It just wasn't, they just didn't know what to do with it. So when I was brought on board, I said, well, let's respond to these customers that have been emailing you. And they said, what? No names. I'm not going to mention who it was, but oh my gosh, it was like almost pathetically sad and funny. But that's what a lot of people are doing with Twitter. They've had people mentioning or reaching out to them or doing retweets, and they've never really acknowledged. So just want to throw that out there. Our tip for today is check your notifications. So again, if you have any Twitter questions about etiquette, I've always wanted to know how to do this or whatever, go check out this site right here, can you see that? Yeah, at twubs.com, Twitter Scope. Go ahead and take a screenshot of that if you'd like. And I will have all of my past links on Catch, the links to my catch.me. And if you have any questions, be sure to use that hashtag TwitterScope. And look at, this is like the funnest part. See, as I cover up look at this. Use the hashtag TwitterScope. There it is, right there. Isn't that fun? Okay, I bought this like so many years ago, and I never get to use it. And now I get to use it. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and be sure and follow me every day for new Twitter tips. And if you have specific questions, use that little hashtag, and I will address them specifically. So have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.